What's up, Dunwoody? Welcome back to the podcast. It's all about Dunwoody, Georgia. My name is Matt Weber. I'm the host. Show is brought to you by Dr. Brett Friedman with Village Orthodontics, who is in the village. He's done my teeth. He's done my wife's teeth. He's doing my kids' teeth. And if you want to look this good, Austin, that's where you go. It's Dr. Brett Friedman. But so today I've got Austin McDonald, who is running for school board representative. I should have done my research. What district is it?
So District 1.
District 1. Okay, that's right. I should have known that. But yeah, so I just wanted to reach out to you guys and kind of show the community just your personality, like you can talk about where you came from, why you got into school board, why the hell you would want to take that job. But,
yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll get started.
Well, first, Matt, I want to say thank you for having me on. This is a great resource for the community. To get an idea of who they're voting for on May 21st.
So and you're both Dunwoody guys too.
We are. So this is, Dunwoody's near and dear to our hearts. Yeah, I moved into Dunwoody 10 years ago. I married into Dunwoody.
Yeah.
My wife is a native to Dunwoody. She was the 2007 homecoming queen at Dunwoody High School.
Oh, there you go. She was Dunwoody.
She was. That's right. And she still is. Absolutely. We have 5 kids. We have 4 kids and 1 on the way, and this summer we'll have 5 kids under 5. They'll be entering the DeKalb County school system over the next 6 years.
Crazy. So you're looking after them, really?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did the math today. For the next 20 years, I'll have a child in the DeKalb County school system, and that's the big reason why I decided to make this leap to run for school board. So, yeah, that's a little bit about why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, tell us what exactly does a school board rep do? Because that's important. I assume you know. I don't really know what a school board representative does. I know that Anna gets roasted a lot here and there, but and it's tough because I don't feel like Dunwoody really fits in with the rest of DeKalb a lot of the time. And so, what do you do as a school board representative?
So I mean, I think when you are a representative, whether that's at the state legislation level or at a local, city council level, your job is to be the voice of the people that you represent at the central office for school board's sake. We are basically the voice to the people, to the superintendent, and therefore the system that makes decisions on budgets and policy and all the things that affect children, teachers, and that parent partnership that I think is very crucial. So that's in a nutshell kind of what they do. Yeah, I mean, you definitely are gonna, I definitely will experience some community concerns.
Hostility,
yeah, community concerns, and I look forward to being able to navigate that if I get elected.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. What do you think some of the biggest challenges that Dunwoody faces in school board?
Yeah, so I mean, DeKalb County is very interesting because I would say District 1 is unique to the rest of the county. One of our, so countywide, I mean, I think it's really basic stuff. It's academics, graduation rates. I think it's literacy rates. I think it's all those basic things. School safety. And then when you get to school safety, it kind of transcends up into District 1, which is basically, for lack of a better term, it's basically North DeKalb County. And I think, it's not just about securing the perimeter of the school for those, the worst case scenario, but it's also about classroom behavior, backing the teachers and parents when there's a issue in the classroom. That we have policy. The thing is, we have a lot of policy already in place that's just not being enforced. And I think that's an easy place to start is, hey, here's our policy. How can we support teachers? How can we partner with parents? One of the things unique to District 1 is the amount of competition that we have with local private schools. And that is something that, since I've actually taught in both public and private school for almost 10 years. And I think that brings a unique perspective to the board because we have to focus on retention of teachers. We have to focus on retention of students and recruiting and admissions of students. I mean, I do not feel that, DeKalb County is not allowing there to be a lot of resources put into the retention and, admissions of students in a community. And that's the key to building a solid, tight knit community around schools is by making sure the kids go to those local schools, those local public schools. So
yeah, I'm a prime example of that. During COVID, we just had enough of DeKalb County schools. My son wasn't getting what we thought he needed and wasn't at school technically. And so, yeah, we pulled him and we ended up putting him at Cornerstone Christian Academy, which is ironically where you used to teach, which is
right.
That's a small world. But yeah, I think a lot of kids left DeKalb County schools during COVID, and we had like kind of an overcrowding problem. And now it's more a lot of the schools are undercrowded at this point. So I think that's a very good point.
We are definitely trending in the undercrowded direction in this area right now. And that's concerning.
Absolutely.
That is a concern. So,
yeah. And you see that, I mean, I think like, downtown Atlanta, maybe like the denser areas, a lot of people are sending their kids to private schools, but I didn't feel like it was like that until right around COVID time.
Right. And during COVID, I had multiple former students because I was a school teacher up until COVID. And then that was my last year. I made a decision to leave education for family reasons. I wanted to be more present for my family and I wanted to give my wife the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom. So that's what we did. I did 2 years as a stay-at-home dad and then started my own business in real estate. But I had students reach out to me during that time, asking me for help, asking me, hey, especially the athletes that did not get that, didn't get the opportunity to have their senior year sports season, when some of the areas in the state were. It was definitely frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, I believe it. How are you enjoying real estate? You like it?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's a little slow right now on the buying selling side. But,
I feel it.
But we and we could talk about that another time. We work. I do residential remodel is kind of an area I've gotten into to kind of help fill the gaps between retail sales. So
yeah. How do you as a school board representative, like how do you reach out to families? Like how do you actually find out what's going on? I know you're not in the schools. You're probably just going to listen to a lot of complaining, I'm assuming, but how do you engage with the families? How do you put yourself out there?
Well, so I think the biggest part about doing that is just being part of the community and being at school events, at athletic events, at drama events that are within the district. I think also being engaged with the principal advisory councils that each school has. That's a great. It's a great because those are actually elected parent positions as well. That those are the voice of the administration there and the teachers and the parents that are there. That is going to be, I think that's a great way to know what's going on because you kind of have to have those places to go and say, hey, what do you need? Which I've been working really hard the last month doing that, reaching out to different groups, saying what is it that you need? If I'm elected, how can I help? And I think that's the big thing. We just have to ask those questions and listen to what the concerns are. Yeah. District 1, between Chamblee High School and Dunwoody High School, it's field space. It's more field space, and that's the big one. More field space and teacher and student retention. I mean, those are the two things that are transcend both kind of school areas. So I know there's a need for a high school over in the Dorville area because of the growth we're having in that area, and that's going to be something that'll be coming up over the next 4 years if I'm elected. That those are going to be some decisions that have to be made. So there's a lot there, but really it's just about being involved in the community. I mean, and when you are communicating with them about what's going on at the central office.
Yeah. There's redistricting times. I've only seen one of them in Dunwoody, but they're tense, man. Everybody's all about, the Dunwoody community at Dunwoody High School and, it's a tight group. But the minute you say, I'm going to take this kid and put him in this school and take this kid and put him in this school, it's, man, they get real tense. Everybody gets real defensive of their schools.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, we both work in real estate, and that drives a lot of where people buy
Absolutely.
their homes in the
Yeah.
community. I mean, I really want to keep all the communities where they're at and together, and we're seeing a trend down in this area. So, I know the superintendent, Dr. Horton, has a council right now that's studying the trends and numbers. There was actually a presentation yesterday at the retreat, the school board retreat yesterday, talking about population trends. So I think those are definitely some things we're gonna have to work through. But I'm feel confident that there won't be too much shaking up in Dunwoody, specifically, just because the numbers are trending down.
Yeah. And then Dr. Horton has gotten rave reviews from what I've heard over, especially Anna. I was talking to Anna the other day, and she was saying that Dr. Horton's done a great job. So you guys think you finally found your man?
Yeah, I mean, I think
it hasn't really been a good fit recently. I think we're paying a few of the past people in that position.
That's quite the dumpster. That's quite the dumpster fire right there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's working hard. I think he's trying to do it right by the teachers and by the students and the communities. And I think we are going to have to be patient and give him time to turn the ship around. I mean, it's starting to turn. It's a giant, it's a giant ship. I mean, it's a $3 billion budget, after CARES money is thrown in there. And a lot, a lot of staff members. I mean, it's a huge organization essentially, that has to be turned around. But he's doing, so far he's doing right by the kids. He's doing right by the teachers. And I would like to see a little more love to District 1. But we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. I think that, I don't know. I don't want to sound so. District 1, I feel like, gets hated on by the other districts because there is more money here, is higher income levels, and so it doesn't fit in with a lot of the other DeKalb areas. And I know that's tense. That's tough to be in that one position. And you're working with, is it 7? There's 8 districts. Is that right? How many districts are there?
7.
There's 7 districts. Okay, so you're just one of 7 people who have your say in the overall DeKalb district. And so I know stuff, you got to learn to work with them, and they're fighting for their district and you're fighting for your district. And I know that's probably tough. It
has a lot to do with partnerships and building those relationships with those other leaders of those other districts. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to do what's best for the kids of DeKalb County school system. And do what's best for the taxpayer as far as how that money is spent in the classroom and not the central office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as we can maintain the singular focus that we're doing this for children and doing this for the schools, to make sure the public school education can compete, especially in our area, which is unique to us. I think that's the goal, and we can all get behind that goal. I think that's a non-political goal. I think that's a transcending goal of, let's serve the kids.
Absolutely. And I think that this District 1 area is kind of blessed with a lot of parents who do put their time in at the schools. I've got a second grader at Chestnut, and when you walk through the halls of Chestnut, it's all people from my neighborhood. It's all people from, the Dunwoody North neighborhood that you see there, volunteering. And so I think that this area does really want their kids to succeed and really put a lot of time into it before pulling them out to a private school. I think that, most of the parents really do want their kid to be around neighborhood kids. And that's, my son's best friends, my 6th grader's best friends at Cornerstone are kind of spread out all over the place. And my 2nd grader's friends, his best friends, are right in the neighborhood. Those are the Chestnut kids. And I love seeing that. But it's tough everybody's got to make their own decisions on, where their kids are going to get the best education.
I mean, parents are going to make that decision, and it's our job as a school system to give them a viable option, that serves their students and serves their kids and serves their needs for their kids. And, I went to public school. My wife went to public school here in Dunwoody, we believe in public school. I'm from a family of educators. I mean, it's just something that, I mean, I think it's very important.
Yeah.
That in that sense of community, it's important. I would even say, even if your kids go to a private school in the area, it's important because the kids that they're at the public school, the private school kids, they're going to be hanging out together, at sporting events and community events. So, that's something I hit sometimes on the campaign trail is when I'm talking to a parent, well, they'll say my child doesn't go to the public school. It still is important. It still is important because we've got your kids will grow up together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll contribute to society together,
Yeah.
and it's important. It's very important.
Yeah. I mean, my kids, are all play at Rush Union. And so the kids I coach an under 12 team, and that under 12 team, there's 4 different elementary schools around, or I guess they're in middle school now, but there's, all these different middle schools and high schools and, private and public, and they mix together. We were at Lemonade Days last night, and I was amazed how all the private school kids that Michael was running around with knew a lot of the public kids, public school kids there. And they're all at that age, they're all such good kids that it's really cool to see them interacting together. So my son, we actually had, when he was 3rd, 4th grade, he was diagnosed with dyslexia. And I read somewhere that you kind of had that same situation growing up. Is that something that you're going to try to implement here into the school system? Is that something you feel for?
So that's in a special place in my heart. I was diagnosed with dyslexia in about 2nd grade, and battled through that all the way until, in middle school, I was bullied and not treated necessarily fairly. I overcame that. I went to college, and as a college athlete, graduated 4 years, and was able to get a job, which was something that was totally in my area where I'm from, in rural Georgia. That was a big deal for, in the 90s, for a kid with dyslexia to come out of there and get a degree and get a job.
It's tough to see in general. Like, we had no idea. Yeah. And then once we were told he has dyslexia, we don't know what that means. It's tough to visualize in your head exactly what they're seeing. And he was in the gifted program. And so it wasn't noticeable. Right. And so I think a lot of kids just get overlooked, especially if they're the more intelligent and, fighting against that.
Yeah. I mean, I spent, so when I was at Cornerstone teaching, I also spent on the side, I was doing contract teaching and motivational speaking with a nonprofit called High School High Tech. And basically our mission was to, and support these students that have learning challenges and learning difficulties, to get them ready for, getting ready for a job, getting them ready for post high school education post high school education, whether they went to college or a job, a technical school. So I went around the state talking about my journey with dyslexia to different groups, at high schools. And I got to see a lot of Georgia and a lot of students through that. That actually led me to being appointed to the State Rehabilitation Council in 2019 by the governor. And through there, we advocated for policy, at the legislation level, for people with challenges. So, it's definitely a special place. I have a special place for kids with learning challenges, because I've been there. I remember my parents and going through it. It's not just the kid thing. Your whole family has to go through it, and you have to have that partnership with the school system to get through it. So,
right. Yeah. Well, cool. I guess that's probably where we should wrap it up. Can you give us a little bit information on your candidacy, where they can find more information about you? Or I guess you're going to be speaking. I'm not going to publish this for another week or so, but you're going to be doing other debates leading up to this. And
we've got a Decatur's forum coming up here in a couple of weeks. That'll be posted on my Facebook page. You can find my Facebook page at Austin C. McDonald, and that's all one. That'll be how you find me there. Or you can search my website at Austin McDonald /DeKalb. That's all spelled out .com, and it'll have my social media links on that website. If you are willing to contribute to me, there's a donation link right there on the website. You can also write a check out to Austin McDonald /DeKalb. and mail it to me. My address is pretty easy to find. My phone number is pretty easy to find. It's all, I mean, as Matt, me and you work in real estate, you can find me if you
absolutely.
want me. So,
what about what are the voting dates? When does early voting start? And
great question. So we are 32 days out right now from Election Day on May 21st. That is my birthday, actually, Matt.
Is it really?
It is. And April 29th is going to be advanced voting. So on April 29th, advanced voting will start, and that'll be for kind of that'll be for the Dunwoody folks. That's going to be at the Dunwoody Library, and then voting day will be wherever you normally vote on your precinct. So yeah, I really hope to earn your vote. If you have any questions, please reach out to me.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Matt.